here today and finish the American flag hula hoop. So all we have left now is the stars. So we're gonna do that right now. And then, of course, we always do a clear tape layer to protect all of this work that we've done and for the longevity of the hula hoop for whoever is purchasing. These are our stars. This hoop is only available at my shop, I Dream of Hoops. It's a custom design. And like I said yesterday, if you want me to make your hoop on alive, just leave a note on your order, and if I have the time and space to do so, I'll definitely do that for you guys. I just thought that would be like a good way to get more interactive with everyone. And I just use my thumb as a spacer so the stars will be nice and evenly spaced. All of our tape is paperback. But this is a day at I Dream of Hoops. Like I said, this one's definitely a slow process, but the end result is so worth it. But yeah, this is our custom American flag hoop. Hope everybody's having a good day today. It's Friday, that's the good news. If you're interested in how we got the stripe pattern, that's on my live from yesterday. The stripes are really, it's 2-inch tape. So it's not, for some tapes, if they're just 1 inch, which most of them are, I would have to put 2 for 1 strip, but this is 2 inches, so it makes it easier, definitely in that aspect, on laying down the stripes. It's just 1 piece of tape versus 2 to make 1 stripe. What's everybody getting into this weekend? It's supposed to rain all weekend over here. And if you guys want to ask me any questions, go for it. I'm open ears and I have my phone close enough where I can read it. Unlike yesterday, I couldn't really touch base with you guys because my phone was a good distance from me. Looking pretty good. This is one of my favorite designs, you know, to put such a complicated pattern on a small surface area like a hula hoop. Just came to me in a hoop dream. And like I said, if you guys ever order a hula hoop from me and you want to watch me make it, then just leave a note on your order and I'd be happy to do so if I have the time and space too. As you can see, it's a slow process. I usually can't finish this particular design in one session because it is pretty daunting. But like I said, the results are worth all the hard work. Is everybody at work today or working from home? Or are you off on a big Friday? I read an article yesterday, I believe, and it was saying that instead of AI replacing our jobs, it could potentially make our work weeks like a 2-day work week instead of 5 days, just where we get the robots like logistics set up and then they do all the hard work, the robots. That would be lovely, right? You know, instead of thinking about it as AI taking our jobs, we need to think about it as them taking the hard work from us and then letting us have more time to do things that we enjoy or be productive in other ways. But wouldn't that be cool? 2-day work week? That, I mean, I could totally handle that. And then like the universal income, they were saying because there will be so much surplus because the robots can work 24/7 and without all of the issues that humans have, that there will be a surplus of product, and that we should get a universal income that is a nice wage, not like, you know, something where you're barely just getting by. It'll be hopefully a fair wage because they'll need someone to purchase the product naturally. They need to get the show on the road, right? But I feel like our work-life balance is off. You know, 5 days a week dedicated to an employer just isn't my idea of success or joy. So if we could get more life and less work, that would be a huge factor. One that I think everyone would be willing to take on. You know, it's a scary time that we're living in, but it's an interesting time. You never know what to expect, what's gonna happen next, which is cool. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Or if you're new to my channel, ooh, how does it look? You guys like? So after all of this tedious work, there's one more step. Clear tape. This is crystal clear tape that we use as a protective layer. And then I always take from the far right corner because that'll be bound down by the overlapping layer and will reduce any tape coming up, which can be an issue with this particular type of tape sometimes. But if you're ever looking for clear tape for your hula hoop, this is a really good option. Like I said, it's called Crystal Clear. You can get it from, I purchased mine from the hoop distributor, Hoopology. But there are other places that you can order it from, any really tape site, probably Amazon, I would think. But some clear tape isn't perfectly clear and it'll kind of give like a foggy look. So this is the best option if you're looking to protect your hula hoop tape. And then with the spiral, you always want to start your spiral off correctly. There's not much wiggle room for correction, so having a good starting spiral will be your best friend and save you a lot of pain and suffering trying to adjust along the way, especially with the deco tape, like this stuff. Look how pretty. This is the one we're gonna be making next. These are like color shifting. You see the pinks, the purple, blue, green. This is one of my favorite deco tapes. But whenever, if say you're trying to make your own hula hoop, you definitely want to start out with the right spiral, because there is no adjustment space. You can maybe micro adjust is a good term I could use. But the tape is very unforgiving, and starting out with the right spiral will do you wonders. I guess I should make a video on tips and tricks on how to tape your own hula hoop, because it is an acquired skill. You're gonna learn the hard way by making mistakes, and it's definitely harder than it looks. I remember when I first started to think about opening up I Dream of Hoops, I ordered all my supplies, I was pumped, and then I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can physically make these hula hoops because my tape spacing was off. So when people order like a clear hula hoop from me and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna tape it myself, I'm always thinking like, no, you're gonna be so disappointed. But you know, that's their trial and error to try. But like I said, starting out with the correct spacing on your spiral is essential. This one, the only spiral tape is going to be the blue section, but most tape tubes are in a spiral design, like we're doing with our clear tape right now. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Has anyone ever tried to make their own hula hoop? And then sometimes there'll be like a slight bubble in the clear tape, which can be smoothed out with your fingers after. But you always want to keep tension on the tape. That's what prevents it from wrinkling or bubbling. Like I said, anytime you're laying it down, you're always going to be pulled, and then you're going to swipe with your finger to avoid any wrinkles. So you're just going to tension, you're going to smooth with your finger and wrap around. You know, any taped hula hoop that you have will get scuffs. I always tell people, you know, that just goes to show that you're putting the work in. So it just comes with the territory. You want to try to avoid concrete or cement with tape hoops, especially, even bare hoops. So it'll like eat up that plastic like crazy, which on the bear hoops, we get natural grip over time from like the lack of smoothness, I guess. Like when you first get a hula hoop, it's going to be real smooth. The plastic's going to be perfect, and you'll get more slippage out of your hands. But over time, whenever you get little nicks and bumps on your hula hoop, it provides like a natural grip, which is really cool. Sometimes it can be a nuisance though if it's too much. So you always want to try to, like I said, avoid concrete or dropping it on concrete if you can. And the tape tubes, I'm going to be honest with you guys, will get tore up on concrete. So just try to avoid that if possible. Or if you hoop on concrete, go for a bear hoop. You know, nothing with tape. It's a good time of year right now to hoop outside, you know. Summertime, it can be a little too hot sometimes. It's always good to go try to get you some sun though. I love some sunlight. Any day that I can, I always go on my porch and try to get some natural vitamin D. I feel like a lot of our just health issues and stuff have something to do with lack of sunlight and lack of connection with the outside, which is our natural habitat. You know, like for instance, grounding. They say that with your feet touching the ground, it's a natural detox. It'll pull like some toxins out of your body. And then it also makes you release like sleepy chemicals. So all the animals have this natural process going, but we've unfortunately disconnected over time from the earth with our housing, concrete. So our bodies are probably adapting to that, and we could, you know, turn out with some adverse effects that we might not be expecting. But it's always good to try to get you some fresh air, sunlight, touch the ground, reconnect with Mother Nature. Like I said, that's something that we've unfortunately lost over time and maybe not even realized the effects of it, you know? Like when I read that it releases a sleepy chemical the more of your body that's touching the ground. So I was like, well, maybe when the animals like lay down to go to sleep, they'll have more surface area touching the ground, and that will release our natural sleepy chemical, which makes a whole lot of sense because they're laying down. Thanks everybody for joining in. We always appreciate your time and interest in what I'm doing. Like I said, this tape is reflective tape, which gives off like a glowing effect whenever it's under a lot of light, like your camera flash on your iPhone. So this hoop looks really cool under the right lighting settings. All right, we're done. All right. Okay, let me go grab my other hula hoop we're going to be working on today. Like I said, this is beautiful deco tape. So this is how it starts. We're gonna use whatever we had left over. Like I said, you see how it's color shifting depending how the light hits it? It's like to die for. Okay, like I was saying, you gotta start with the correct spiral. I'm just a little bit too wide, but there's really no room for adjusting once the initial rung is laid down, so that's why I just went back. Still not quite enough. All right, better. Something else I'll do with my tape tubes is when you get to the connection, I put it on the ground to make sure that it's laying flat and the connection doesn't need to be adjusted. See, that one needed like a little micro adjustment, but if you don't have the tape and the connection right, sometimes that tension that you put on the tape will make your hula hoop kind of wonky. So I always just lay it down on the floor and make sure the hoop is perfectly flat. On all the different angles and sides. You know, so if you touch it here, it shouldn't pick it up here. It should be laying flat. So that's another little tip if you're trying to tape your own hula hoops. And then also, if your spiral is perfect like it is now, and then things start to get weird later down the line, it's because, it could be because of multiple things. It could be because you have a wrinkle or bubble in your tape, or your spacing has gotten off, or even that you have a flat spot of the hoop. And so you always want to reassess whenever your spiral gets off so you can have the best results. And when you get a second piece of tape like this one, if you line it up with the last spiral, you should be exactly where you want to be on the spiral spacing. So I can't figure out a solution to get myself untangled in the tape. I've tried multiple things, and this seems to be the easiest way. If you have any ideas, definitely let me know. And then we're going to bound down the section where it's connected with clear tape. We're going to clear tape the whole hula hoop as well. A little secret for you guys, you can add a clear protection layer like this, but most of the time I'll add it anyway just for longevity of the hoop and customer satisfaction. So if you ever order a hoop from me, it's not necessary to add that unless like you absolutely need it, like for a performance hoop or something like that. Isn't it pretty? And then some tapes are just easier to work with than others. I find that the color shifting tapes, I guess they have a bunch of layers or something, so they're thicker, a little bit harder to manipulate, easier to wrinkle sometimes. So if you are trying to tape your first hula hoop, I recommend getting something that is like a busy pattern, you know, like glitter tape, something that's real busy, because the ones that are kind of flat like this, you can see more of the flaws in the taping job. So definitely, if you are trying to tape your first hula hoop, get a busy tape design to hide the flaws of your first tape tube, because there will be some, unfortunately. But you'll get better with every taping. Don't give up. And the reason why I get caught up in my tape like that is because it is paper backed. So as I'm spiraling the tape on, this is getting caught going the opposite way. So the paper backing is nice, but it does make some aspects a little bit harder. But the further you get along, the easier it gets. So, because there'll be less tape, you know, to pull around the hula hoop. It kind of matches my dress. So I have, after this one, I have two more hoops to tape, like the one I taped yesterday, the pink beginner hoop. One's gonna be pink, so I'm gonna be repeating what I did yesterday. And one will be silver. That's one of my most popular beginner hoops. I noticed that, like with beginner hoops, a lot of people want the contrast and the spiral, but for a new hooper that's trying to blend in with the community, sometimes they want a solid color hoop. So that's why I did the pink on pink, yellow on yellow, and it's been a hot seller. And that's just kind of how I felt when I was a beginner. I felt like the spiral design made me stand out, and not a way that I wanted to. No one wants to be the newbie on the block. So that's why I designed that particular beginner hoop, and it definitely caught, so I wasn't the only one. I know you guys can't see the whole hula hoop. How far along do you think I am? A quarter, halfway, almost there. Yesterday we timed how long it would take me to finish the hoop. I gave myself 2 minutes. I finished it in plenty of time. Like I said, they're all different. All of the tapes will have different little catches and lay differently a little, so just keep that in mind, that all tapes aren't created equally. Okay, so I am about halfway done, a little over halfway. The tape tubes, they can get daunting on the hands, you know, naturally, especially with like the tension that you have to pull. I started getting like this pain in my hand from the taping, so I try to space it out as best I can. You know, I can't really control my order flow, so I just take it as it comes. But you can see as the tape strip gets shorter, it's easy to hurdle over. So that's something you have to consider if you're trying to make your own hula hoop too, is your tape length. The less connection points, the better, especially if you're new to taping. So you want it to be long enough, but not too long where it gets caught like that on the adjustment. But I wouldn't recommend making your own hula hoop unless you're really crafty. Maybe like I even was trying to think about how to sell a slumber party package where it's something that like the kids could do at a slumber party. That would be a really fun little game for them to play. But the reason why I've never done it is because of the difficulty. I want people to have a good experience, and I don't know, I just feel like the place that I bought my beginner hoop stuff should have kind of warned people about that. It's a lot harder than it looks, and it is an acquired skill. You're not going to do it perfect the first time. And if you're doing it to save money, you probably won't be super satisfied with final result, and that's why I just wouldn't recommend it. Like I said, unless you're feeling up for the task, then go for it. Okay, how far you guys think I am now? Whoop. Getting close. Looks like my tape's gonna be a little short. So I will probably have to make another connection. Okay, we just need a little bit more. What do you guys think? And so this is one of my favorite tapes.